Okay, hello, hello, hello. Welcome. So today I'm here chatting with the lovely Sutton, one of my clients who's been in, I guess, a few different experiences with me. So you've experienced some one-on-one, some group mini mind, mastermind. So I first of all, Sutton, if you could just introduce yourself and um, just, I guess, tell everybody a little bit about what it is, who you are, what it is that you do, first of all, and then kind of want to dive into some questions.
Okay, great. Well, it's wonderful to be here with you, Lori, and hello to everyone who will be listening to this in the future. As Lori said, my name is Sutton. I am a wife, homeschool mom of four, and former technical sergeant in the United States Air Force. And what I do is help high-level entrepreneurs and executives really step into their next level of leadership so they can overcome either a plateau in creativity, income, or just really being more of themselves in their space.
Awesome. Thank you. Um, so now the real question, I'm not going to say before we met because we actually met quite a while, I think, before we
Mhm.
started working together. But before we started working together, can you just tell me a little bit more just about what was going on in your world, in life, in business? How had things been going for you up until that point, and what was going
So
on?
when we had just met, I think I had just had my fourth child at that time, and I was in like a huge kind of transitional space. Like I had stepped away from coaching, um, and it really gave me like a different perspective, kind of like the outside looking in, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I decided to, come back and do something with myself in the business. So I meandered a lot. That has definitely been something I've done since I've started my business is a lot of meandering. And I think working with you, I know I'm like going on a tangent here, but I think working
No,
with
just go
you,
with it.
I think working with you was really a catalyst for me to really stepping into what I should have been doing in the first place. And so I feel that I've come full circle in that. Because when I came online in early 2022, leadership was what I wanted to focus on because I identified that there was definitely a need for it with entrepreneurs, but I couldn't articulate it. I couldn't tell you like I can now. I just knew there was something that I wanted to do with like leadership. And I think that's why I met so much resistance with the coach I had at the time about no, it's not something you should do. It's boring. It's not marketable. No one cares. And so I thought that she knew better than me. So I kind of just went down that path. And because of, not trusting myself, the conditioning, limiting beliefs, all that kind of stuff, I had to go through all of that to get to this point now.
Uh, yes, I agree that you did. So what was going on though in business? So when we, like, you had started doing something, well, actually, okay, let's go back. What had you ended up doing versus the leadership? Like, what were you doing when you kind of came to my containers?
I had ended up doing like content and messaging. So I was really just trying to find, okay, what's something that I'm good at that I enjoy?
Mhm.
But I've since realized that it's much more than that. But yeah, that's what I was focusing on, helping women entrepreneurs, more so coaches, really refine their messaging and their content.
Okay. And like what had been going on in terms of like the growth of your business? Like how were things going business wise? How was it feeling like when you were doing that?
They weren't really going, like it was just kind of like here and there as far as sales go, and it definitely wasn't the right people. It wasn't people who were serious about growing their businesses. It was more just, okay, I need this kind of quick win kind of thing. And it felt really like heavy.
Okay, okay.
I was just
Explain
kind
that
of
feeling to me because I want to talk about the opposite. So explain that a little bit more if you could.
So I was just kind of like going through the motions, just waiting for someday for it all to kind of come together. I didn't know when that day was going to be. I didn't really feel confident that the day would come. And I was just like, it's got to be hard for a while. It's been hard, but it's just going to keep being hard until one day it's not.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about the specifics too, because I feel like you were maybe a little burned out on how things were going. So tell me just kind of how you were feeling, what was going on.
Because I had tried everything. I had tried everything up until that point, and I'd already been through a phase where I was burned out. That's why when I was pregnant with my fourth, it was kind of like, oh, well, here's my green light to just kind of step away.
Okay.
Because I made money like quickly in those early days because I was just kind of going through the motions, doing what, supposed to be doing, and the market was different. And it wasn't sustainable. But I didn't know any way other to operate. So I just kind of picked up where I left off and kept doing those things, even though I knew better. I knew it wasn't, something that I should be doing, but it's kind of like, well, I didn't know any other way. Didn't trust myself to do any other way at that time. So just keep doing it and they'll eventually work out. It has to be hard.
So where were you at, like mentally, emotionally, etc., financially if you want to share too, but just how are you feeling when I had reached out, because I think I had reached out to you because I just felt like one of my genius audits, right, were going to be like really helpful for you. So what was going on for you right then? Where were you at?
I just felt like kind of like giving up. And maybe there was some, micro quitting involved with that. But again, like I had done everything, like strategy, marketing, you name it, I know it. But it's like, why wasn't it working? Why wasn't I, getting those results like everyone else? And
Yeah.
when is it my time?
The magic question, right? That everybody wants the answer to. But yeah, I think let's talk about that a little bit more. So you tried everything, you came into my world. What changed?
It was really a different perspective because anyone I'd ever worked with or talked to up until that point, it was just kind of like more of the same. And I think your approach was completely different. It was kind of like, well, what do you want to do? Is this what you're supposed to be doing? And I'd never really thought about that before. It was always just, well, find something you're good at. If it doesn't bug you that much, you can make money off of it and go to it.
Yeah. And so what you were doing, like, because you are really good, I will just say, like, you're really good at writing content and doing messaging and doing that work. So why do you think, even though you were doing something that you were good at, it wasn't working?
Because it wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. There's more to me than just that. And I had to figure that out on my own. That I didn't have to put myself in this box. Like, oh, well, what is your niche? Well, my niche is, content marketing and blah, blah, blah. So I think that's why it was it was kind of that struggle and not, having the confidence and stuff. I knew I was good at it because that wasn't the point.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you feel like, here's a question I want to ask here. I want to kind of go back because you said you were burnt out, in the past before you kind of took time off to have your last baby, right? And then when you came back in, you started doing the same things. So I'm curious, like that burnout that's happened in the past, what do you think actually led you down that path to get to that point? Like reflecting back now.
Doing things that I didn't really know why I was doing them. Just kind of like following that advice. Well, this is what you're supposed to do. This is how you get that success. You want that, you got to book, 10 calls per week minimum, and, you know, all these kinds of things. You got to be everywhere talking to everyone, and you got to post 3 times a day. You got to be on stories and reels. I think that's what it was, because that's not what I had signed up for.
Mhm.
But it was just kind of like I was thrown into the space. Well, this is what everybody's doing, and they're making money. So if I want to make money, I need to be doing it too.
Yeah, absolutely. So what was the driving force behind starting your business? Like I know you said you wanted to do leadership and teach leadership, but was that really the driving force, or was there something more? Was it the freedom, or like was there something else behind it?
I mean, with my background, it was really, because I don't know if you know this, I actually wanted to open a fitness boutique here in Morocco.
You should mention that, yeah.
Yeah, when when we, first decided to move here. And so entrepreneurship was, something that I already had in mind. Um, and the driving force behind that was just given my career, I was just kind of tired of having other people tell me what to do.
Mhm. I
Um,
understand, and I wasn't in the military, so I can imagine yours was even more so.
yeah, and I just wanted to do my own thing. And then I wanted to be at home with my kids and to also show them a different way, that if they want to go out and do their thing, I think I should be the one to show them that example. Oh, well, mom did this, and,
Mhm.
I mean, why not? So that was really the impetus for me.
Yeah, so when you started kind of in the first time around,
Mhm.
and where you did end up burnt out, do you feel like you had that at first, and then as you started to kind of latch into like other people's ways of doing things, that you kind of lost that?
I think I came in with an idea that I couldn't quite articulate, but I
Mhm.
knew it was something. And then I just kind of latched on to these, other people and things without
Yeah.
ever really getting back to whatever that was. I didn't have somebody to kind of help me really flesh that out.
Yeah. And I think that's honestly a huge problem in this industry personally. So I'm jumping around a little bit, but just
Okay.
thanks for bearing with me. You know my methods. I've always got, my mind going in the background there with questions. Um, so now fast forward back to when you came into my world, right? I think we started with a genius audit. You came then into my own your zone, the first round of that, and then into a mastermind, and we did some one-on-one together. So can you kind of just talk to me a little bit now about your journey the last, several months since you have been in my world? Like what's shifted? What's changed?
Wow. So a lot of it has been internal, which to me is definitely the most important. um, Definitely feel clear about who I am and what I'm doing. I have had more consistency than I have since I've started. So that's been huge for me. And not really being afraid to just go out and try something,
Wow.
not needing to like, okay, we need to plan out because that was huge for me before. Especially, given my background and everything, I need to plan out everything before we move. And now I'm just like, okay, we'll figure it out along the way. Let's go do it. And if I need to go back and, kind of refine, that's okay.
I want to talk about that a little bit more because, yeah, I mean, especially with the military, I imagine that was a huge, kind of like shift from what you had been used to, but that way of operating, more flow, more ease in the way that you were doing things. Um, Hold on, lost my train of thought there. Okay, so that shift in kind of just the way things were going for you, is that what the vision was, like going back to when you first started your business? Is that where you saw it going?
No, um, I knew I wanted to be free, but what that actually meant, no, because I always just assumed you have to work hard. That's just the way it is.
Huh?
And so I accepted that as being a part of the reality of, having a business is the hard. But now what I've come to realize, it doesn't have to be that way unless I wanted to.
Mhm.
So now my whole perspective about the things I'm doing is not hard. So before, when I would have been spending like hours on who knows what, now I'm like, okay, an hour, hour and a half, I'm done, and I let it go. Right? There's no more like, oh, okay, I need to find more things to do.
Yeah. So how has that changed like other aspects of your life, like relationships with your kids, your ability to be with your family, your husband? Like I'd be curious to know about that too.
Um, it has given me more time, time that I wasn't giving myself. Um, and I think it's really just, I wouldn't say it's helped us grow closer, but I'm more present
Mhm.
than I was before when I was just, whatever it was that I was doing that really wasn't important. And so now, before I would get up, okay, let's get on my phone and see, let's refresh the algorithm. And now I get up, my focus in the morning is my kids. I have some personal development stuff that I do twice a week. And so I do that for myself. I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, changing diapers, and doing all that jazz. That's what I do in the mornings. And then, I have, like I said, an hour and a half where it's, business stuff, and that's it.
How does that feel versus where you were, let's say, a year ago?
It feels good, but it's weird. It's weird to think about, you know? Um, and, people ask me all the time, oh, how do you, manage with, homeschooling 4 kids and, business? It's, it's really, I've prioritized them first
Yeah.
and being okay with that what I want to do where I'm at, that means putting them first because they're not going to be this age forever,
Yeah, absolutely.
and so everything I do, business has to fit around that.
So how does it feel now knowing that that's exactly what you've created?
I never really thought about it until you mentioned it. I think when we did one-on-one, like, oh yeah, this is what I've been wanting this whole time.
Mhm. Mhm. How's that feel?
It feels good. Yeah, it does.
So if someone were to come to you that was considering working with me, what would you say to them?
I would say that they should do it, but they should be ready to peel back those layers because that's what's going to happen. And I have worked with a lot of people, more than I care to admit, over the past few years. And there are only a few people I can count on one hand that I would recommend, and you are one of them. It's a very short list.
Well, thank you. I am flattered to be on that very, very short list, and also, grateful to have had the opportunity to work with you, to be a part of this journey. For me, I think that when I first started my business, the goal was, to have a life that I love, to be able to do things on my terms, and to help other people realize that they could do the same for themselves, to have a life that they genuinely loved, that lit them up to live life in their happy place, and have a business that supported that, where they could do the things that they love, they could change lives, make an impact, but without sacrificing everything that they wanted for themselves. So, hearing that that's what's coming to fruition for you is a very powerful thing. So I just appreciate you choosing me to be a part of it.
Yeah, and thank you for the opportunity. I forgot to mention, like, even working with you has made me a better coach.
Yay, love
So,
that. Made you a better leader, better coach, because as coaches, we are leaders ultimately,
yeah,
and we're here to lead many people in this movement. So
yeah.
congratulations. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
And thank you for being here with me today to do our little interview, and to just talk about your experience, and for allowing me to continue to be a part of your journey.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's been great. So that's why I keep coming back any way I can.
Well, thank you, and thank you for the kind words, and thank you everybody else for taking the time to watch this. You see.